The female soldier looked incredulously at the computer screen in front of her. It clearly showed that the sun had changed. She quickly called the officer to report the situation, but the officer just came over to take a look and told her to get back to work and forbade her to talk to anyone about it. Mary's heart was filled with fear because the sun's gamma rays were coming at the Earth at breakneck speed. Soon all life on Earth will be destroyed. Soon after, she was urgently summoned to the war room, but the officers inside didn't allow her to participate in the discussion. As the door slowly closed, Mary knew there was a crisis. When she returned to her quarters, she called her mother, who was hundreds of kilometers away. She told her to stay in the basement for the next few days, but before she could explain in detail, suddenly there was a noise outside. She turned out the lights and went to the window to see. Two heavily armed soldiers had arrived downstairs. Mary instantly realized something was wrong. She blocked the door with a table. Then she grabbed her uniform and backpack and ran outside. But in her panic, she left her cell phone on the couch. A few minutes later, two soldiers forced open the door, but the room was empty. Meanwhile, a team of 5 scientists were heading to the bottom of the ocean in a mini submarine. But not even halfway through their journey, suddenly a bright band of light appeared in the deep sea. It's supposed to be pitch black at this depth. So where is this beam of light coming from? Pilot George decides to surface, but when they reached the surface, they realized they'd lost contact with the tug, and the navigation system was completely disabled. George had no choice but to open the hatch and climbed out and saw the lights on the towing vessel. Strangely, there was no one there. He called out to the crew, but there was no answer. They decided to take a chance and approach the tractor. When they were at the right distance, they could connect the two with a cable. Then George and Jenny boarded the tractor, but as they searched all the cabins, they couldn't find any of the crew. It was as if they had all vanished. A sense of foreboding came over them. Finally, in the captain's cabin, they finally learned the shocking news from a computer left behind by a colleague, that the sun had mutated. The sunrise will kill all living beings. The military has told them to go to a nearby underground shelter. Looking at their colleague's anxious face, although they felt a bit strange, but they realized that this was definitely not a prank. Terrified, they hurried back to the submarine. Then they used their remaining power to head towards the island that their colleague had mentioned. Not long after, Brother Hoosie noticed something unusual on the radar. An unidentified object was rapidly approaching them. George took a look at it. He assumed that the object must be coming towards them, so he decided to go full throttle. Finally, a short time later, arrived at the island with the shelter, but their hearts were still in suspense because the dock was completely dark. There was an eerie depression everywhere. Just when they were feeling a bit scared, a huge wave suddenly rose from the sea. Then a huge object suddenly surfaced.